While we have a quick moment for you guys to make some comments to Margot on the sheet that you have in front of you, you can talk to her about what you like, give you some ideas that you might want to consider for next time. That would be great. While we have a quick moment, I wanted to remind everybody about the hike sign-up sheet that is in the back. So if you could please take some time tonight before the end of the meeting to indicate on the paper if you're going to be interested in hike with them or not. That would be wonderful. I was thinking about trying to find a note to tell you guys about funny things about tax day, and besides the free all-you-can-eat wings, not free, all-you-can-eat wings today, that kind of blew me away a little bit. But I was thinking about some other things to share with you guys. And one of the things that I looked up was some funny ideas and tax quotes. So Arthur Godfrey, he talked about how proud he is to pay taxes within the United States. The only problem is he can be just as proud with half the money. Okay, is everybody done writing comments? Our next speaker this evening is Mark Lamprecht, and you can see his speech title is The Power of Patience. It's on the back of your agenda. He's speaking also from the Competent Communicator, and he's doing project number 2, which is Organize Your Speech. It'll be 5 to 7 minutes. And I just wanted to share a few really interesting things about Mark that I had learned. First is, I don't know if you guys know this, but he is the best speaker on his street in his neighborhood. Are you going to call this back to you guys? And another thing I didn't fully understand is that Mark works every day in financial services, but in the evenings he is actually in school. He is attending seminary school part-time, so I know that that's definitely a full load for you. And he's been married to his wife Dawn for almost 10 years, and they met while they were in college. And I again asked him what he was happy to be taxed with, and he's definitely happy to be taxed with the seminary homework. But even though it's a lot of effort, and we all can understand that every time it gets him one step closer to his Master of Divinity degree, which I know that he's working really hard for. So please welcome Mark to give his speech.
Have you ever been driving behind the slow driver in the left lane? You're trying to get over, and you're growing impatient, and you just can't get over because there's all these cars on the right-hand side of you blocking your way. And finally, there's that opening, and you zip around them, and you leave them in the dust. Until about 2 miles down the road when you hit that red light, and he comes pulling up behind you. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, guests, why is it that the next stop, after you just experienced that slowpoke driver, you can't wait to tell everybody about this idiot? But why? Why do we let our impatience affect us so much for someone we have no idea who they are? We're never going to see them again. But yet we let it give us a bad attitude. I have a solution. Patience. So we're going to consider the power of patience right now. In 3 sections, we're going to define patience. Then we're going to consider how patience can change you. And finally, how patience can change others. What is patience? Patience is the ability to accept delay, trouble, suffering, all without getting angry or upset. Sounds easy, right? How easy was it when you were behind that slowpoke driver? There's a proverb that says, with patience a ruler may be persuaded. The Greek philosopher Plato said, the basis of any wisdom is patience. Einstein even commented on patience. He said, in any contest between power and patience, bet on patience. And that brings us to our next point, that if we took those 3 great quotes and we applied them in light of the definition of patience, I'm willing to take Einstein's bet. So let's consider how patience has the power to change you. If you could have been in my office with me on that day when a certain client called, we'll call him Mr. Stern, you would have finally seen me answer his phone call on the 4th ring. See, Mr. Stern was horrible to talk to. He was rude and crude, just an unpleasant experience. And so I've been avoiding his calls for at least the last 2 weeks or more. I'd see his number come through and I'd let it go through the voicemail. I'd get the message. I'd hand it off to my boss. Problem solved. But that day was different. See, the previous night I was driving home and I'm listening to this preacher on the radio. And he says, he's talking about patience and worry. And he says, you know, most things we worry about, they never come true anyway. And there's nothing you can do about most of those things anyway. And you know what else he said? I don't remember either. That's all I remember from that. And I went home and I took that, and I thought about all the areas where impatience just drives me crazy in certain areas of life, to anger and stress, anxiety, and all those other bad things that go along with that, those things that are bad for your health. But the next day, Mr. Stern called and I answered the phone. See, I was ready for him. I was ready with patience. Mark, Mr. Stern calling. I don't know what you guys are doing down there, but I got some questions about my account. Yes, sir, Mr. Stern. Let me see how I can help you. He was still unpleasant, and I still helped him. But when I got off the phone, I felt great. I felt empowered because I accepted his trouble without getting angry or upset. And through my patience, I focused on how I could answer his questions and how I could help him. 2 days later, my boss called me into his office, and he said, Mark, I heard you had a conversation with Mr. Stern. Where'd you hear that? Well, he called me, he had a few things he wanted to tell me about you. Okay. But I was ready, because I just dealt with Mr. Stern with patience, and I knew I could handle anything my boss would throw at me. And that's when I discovered the power of patience to change other people. Mr. Stern spoke highly of me to my boss. He said, I don't know what you did, I don't know what you said to him, but he called to praise you. He actually felt sorry for the way he treated me all those other times on the phone and other people. And he couldn't believe how patient I was with him when I helped him. And that was the last time we'd ever had a crude phone call. From then on out, we had great conversations, even laughed a little bit. And he knew he was angry and bitter on the phone. But there's something about him I didn't know. See, he was almost 80 years old at the time. He had a bad illness that kept him bedridden most of the days. And it made him angry. And Mr. Stern passed away later that year. But he left me with a great memory, a lesson, that the power of patience can not only change me and you, but the power of patience can change others as well. And that's the power of patience. Madam Toastmaster.